On a bright morning in New York City, a young detective named Jack Harper prepares to undergo a day full of tough tasks. As a member of the National Security Team, his mission is to track and capture terrorists who threaten the security of the United States. Harper has trained hard, facing threats after threats coming from radical groups who want to destroy world peace. However, what began as a hateful search for the country's enemies turned into an unexpected spiritual journey. The story begins when Jack is selected to join an intelligence team investigating an organized terrorist cell. They get information that this group is planning to carry out a major attack in New York City. The team works non-stop, collecting data and conducting in-depth investigations. During his mission, Harper has to deal with many people, including a Muslim man named Ahmad, who works at a bookstore in the city. When Jack and his team investigate the store, he is surprised by Ahmad's calm and friendly attitude. Instead of finding a suspicious figure, Jack was impressed by Ahmad's peaceful personality. Ahmad was a devout Muslim, lived a simple life, and never showed any violence. On one occasion, Jack decided to visit the bookstore again, wanting to dig deeper into Ahmad's views on life and religion. In their conversation, Ahmad patiently explained the true teachings of Islam, which were very different from the violence often associated with terrorism. Islam is a religion of peace, Ahmad said with conviction. We believe that life should be lived with compassion and justice, not hatred or violence. Jack, who had been accustomed to hearing stories of violence committed by terrorist groups claiming to represent Islam, felt moved. He began to doubt his narrow views of this religion. Ahmad invited him to read some of the Islamic holy books and introduced Jack to the profound concepts of peace, tolerance, and forgiveness. As the mission to hunt down the terrorist cell continued, Jack interacted with Ahmad more and more. As a detective, he was used to relying on logic and evidence to make decisions. However, this time, he felt that he was beginning to open his heart to something bigger than just his duty. He began to see the difference between those who truly understood the teachings of their religion and those who used it for personal gain. At the climax of the mission, Jack successfully thwarted a terrorist attack that had been planned in New York City. However, behind his success, he realized that the search for terrorists did not only lead him to protect innocent people, but also to find a new understanding of religion and peace. Jack began to realize that many people misunderstand Islam and that hatred will only bring more suffering. Although he did not immediately change his beliefs, this experience was an eye-opener. Jack Harper, who had previously viewed Islam only through the lens of hatred and fear, now appreciated the diversity and peace that this religion truly taught. After the mission was completed, Jack continued to maintain a good relationship with Ahmad. They often discussed various topics, and although they had different beliefs, they respected and appreciated each other. Jack felt that his mission, which was originally about hunting terrorists, had given him a much deeper understanding of life, love, and peace. After completing his mission, Jack Harper returned to his daily life, but something inside him had changed. This unexpected experience affected the way he viewed the world. He felt more at peace in his heart and wanted to learn more about Islam and its teachings that emphasize peace and tolerance. In the months following the incident, Jack decided to continue his search, but no longer for terrorists. Now, he began to search for inner peace and find ways to spread a better understanding of Islam. In his mind, he realized that the world is full of misunderstanding and stereotypes built on fear. Jack visited the local mosque, a place he had never been to before. He felt anxious and hesitant, but when he stepped inside, he was greeted warmly by the congregation. They greeted him with sincere smiles, invited him to join Friday prayers, and talked about how their religion teaches peace. There, Jack learned more about mutual respect, the values of goodness contained in every teaching of Islam, and how Muslims around the world are trying to overcome injustice. Several months later, Jack contacted Ahmad, who was proud of the changes in his new friend. They talked more often and studied the teachings of Islam together. Jack began to read the Quran with a more open mind, trying to understand the meaning behind each verse. He also began to see how in the Quran, peace is at the heart of many teachings. However, even though Jack was becoming more open and understanding of the teachings of Islam, he still felt that his spiritual path was still long. He felt that he was not ready to take a big step like embracing Islam, but his heart felt more peaceful and more open to differences. He decided to continue learning and not stop trying to understand the truth in this life. One day, after years of working as a detective, Jack decided to resign from the risky job. He wanted to find a more meaningful path in life, to make a positive impact on the world. Jack chose to work in education, spreading the message of peace and diversity that he learned throughout his life's journey. He involved himself in various social projects aimed at reducing tensions between religions and cultures. Jack also founded an institution that focuses on interfaith dialogue, to encourage people from different backgrounds to understand each other and work together to create a more peaceful world. With his unique life experience as a detective who had faced violence, he felt more capable of bridging the gap and inviting people to think with a more open heart. Jack Harper's story is an inspiration to many people, especially for those who are often trapped in prejudice and hatred towards things they do not understand. From a detective who initially hunted terrorists, Jack discovered that the greatest enemy is not a particular person or group, but the hatred and fear that covers the human heart. At the end of his life's journey full of searching, Jack discovered that the most important thing is not to hunt enemies, but to seek peace and live side by side with compassion. He remembered Ahmad's message that always taught that a peaceful life begins with a sincere heart and a clear mind. With every step he took, Jack Harper discovered the light of Islam that was full of peace and hope, a journey that brought not only a deeper understanding, but also a change in his perspective on the world and humanity.